Whoa, welcome back to my channel, sports fans. Okay, let's get into this one right here. OKC Pacers predictions. OKC Pacers predictions. And let me tell you something. All the shenanigans surrounding the NBA really has been outdoing this upcoming playoff series. I'm just saying, a lot of shenanigans, with ex-players and, current players saying this, saying that, like always, kind of nothing new, on that script. But, nothing. We'll see what happens, man. We'll see what happens. Not a soul in the world is picking the Pacers. But guess what? I have a different soul. I got a different intuition. I have a different feeling. I'm going with the Pacers. I'm going with the Pacers. And it's such an awful pick that I couldn't even tell you in what. In 5, in 6, in 7. I couldn't even tell you. I have no idea. Because it's the dumbest pick of all time. This will be like the equivalent, and you could use other teams. I don't know. This would be like the Chicago Bulls losing. Oh God, I'm trying to pick a team out west, but it was really good teams out west who were number 4s. That's I'm trying to figure this out. Like, really? You know what I'm saying? I mean, when the Bulls were on their three-peats, the number 4s were pretty good. You know what I'm saying? They were pretty good in the West. So I'm trying to figure one out. I don't know. I would have to go back and look. I can't even use that real, that comparison. Really, I can't think of, because there were some good number 4s back in the day. And I guess we would have to say the first three-peat Chicago Bulls, because the OKC Thunder, they're pretty young. They're a young team, so I don't know who was number 4 over there. Maybe, I don't know, maybe a Golden State team when they had everybody, the Mitch Richmond, Chris Mullin, and who's this other guy? I think Tim Hardaway. Wow, hard to believe all those guys were on one team at one time and never made it to a championship. Wow, that's just nuts. Just nuts. But I don't think those guys were much of, they weren't real defensive minded. I would say maybe, I don't know. I ain't gonna say they didn't play they're not defensive minded, but they just weren't, in my opinion, they weren't great defensive players. I wouldn't even say good, really. I would say Tim Hardaway would be the biggest, if anything. I guess I would have to go back and look. I don't remember Tim Hardaway being a defensive player. When I talk about all NBA defensive team, I think the great players made defensive first team. Great players always make defensive first team. Okay? Some of them that made defensive first team, some of them were all-time great. And then some of them were, great for like 2-3 years or something like that, but not all-time great. And then the ones that made defensive second team, I consider them good defenders. They were good defenders. Some of them were all-time great, and some of them, weren't great. They were just good. That's where a lot of people, back in when I watched basketball, 90s, 80s, we always talk about a guy like, Magic Johnson. This guy had 2 steals titles. This guy had to be awake somehow. He had to be, awake and playing defense. So he has 2 steal titles. So I always say, okay, who stopped Magic Johnson from making first and second team at that point guard? Or I don't even know if they do it by position. I think it's just guard maybe, or just, guard, forward, and then center. But who stopped Magic Johnson from making it? And then you look, you say, well, who was on the first team that, I say those are great players. And some of them are all-time great. And then, okay, let me see who was on the second team that stopped Magic from making it. I consider those good defenders. And that's when we would look on those teams, the first and second team, oh, man. Yeah, I see why Magic didn't make it. He wasn't a slouch. But a lot of these guys, this is what they did at a high level. Some of them might not have been, especially on the second team, and sometimes on the first team, they might not have been good scores or passes or something like that. But defense is their thing. Defense is what, got them in the start five and, got their career moving or something like that. So you can see, I see why Magic didn't make it. Yeah, man, those guys were good at the guard position. And now these days you say, well, who stopped Booker from making it? Who stopped LeBron from making it in the last 11 years? Who stopped Kevin Durant from never making one, or Steph Curry never making one, or, Jason Tatum and, I think Jaylen Brown, and who stopped these guys from making All-NBA defensive? Luka Doncic, Joker, Anthony Edwards. Who stopped them? Okay, let me look at the first team and see the great players and the all-time great defensive players. What the hell? Who the hell is this? Who the hell is this? And then you look on the second team, you're like, oh my God. You're trying to tell me these so-called superstars, that they can't even make a second team over these nobodies that's on the second team? How embarrassing for the NBA. How embarrassing. So basically, you just got your superstars and stars of this league run around just playing offense. They really don't play defense at a high level. So when they end up losing, guess what? In these so-called weird, scenarios, situations, and series in the playoffs, you can see why they lose. Because you're the star player, and the role players and the players below you are only going to give the defensive effort that they see the leaders, the superstars on the team provide, the kind of effort they give. So if your superstar isn't giving you no effort on defense, why would the rest of the team? Why would the rest of the team? And since this three-point contest has steadily continued in the 2020s, how do you judge defense in this era? Guys just sitting at the three-point line chucking up threes. How do you really defend that? I don't understand. Pick and pop and chucking up threes. How do you really defend that? To judge how great somebody is on defense, I don't know. I don't know, because nobody's playing positional basketball anymore. Anyways, so yeah, it's the dumbest thing to think that the Pacers even have a chance. But were the Pacers better than Denver Nuggets? Well, I don't know. If I ain't mistaken, what was Denver? So Denver was a 4 seed. I guess you can't really base it on the what seed they were. Or that's in the NBA. You can't do that. That's kind of like a fugazi way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? We saw what Houston was. Houston was a number 2 seed. What a travesty. What an embarrassment. This team was a number 2 seed, and we had Memphis at one point after the All-Star break, and a little bit after that, they were like a 2 or 3 seed. They were a 2-3 seed. And then after the All-Star break also, guess what? Denver worked their way all the way up to number 2. Yep. So the seeding, and I said this during the season, it doesn't matter where these guys had landed. 2 through 6 were the same to me. 2 through 6, it was no different. All these teams were the same to me. Right? And they kind of proved that in the playoffs. So Denver was the only team to take OKC to a Game 7. Wow. So let's just say, because we're going to have to go back on this and, piss in Scap's face, because I've basically been doing it all year. And then through the playoffs, I've been doing it. And all this guy can give you is a whole bunch of rumble mumble stats that don't really mean nothing. You know what I'm saying? This guy has become he's a wannabe uncut sports center. That's what he is. He's a with his bot fans and his robot. Well, let's just AI bot fans and AI. So I'm convinced they had this now, and I don't have any proof yet, but everything that I think of, it really comes to fruition. And we was talking about the other day the LeBron James AI deepfake podcast, and we're like, I had been calling that out. I would have to dig in videos. I called that out a long time ago. Like, oof, last year when, him and JJ Redick was doing it, I was like, yeah, it's AI deepfake podcast. And LeBron James ain't the first one to do it. He came late to the game. But what he saw was, it's a lot of money I can make doing AI deepfake podcasts, right? And again, I was saying before, don't think they can't do AI deepfake live podcasts. Yes, they can. Yes, they can, people. They can do it. They already got the software to do that. But, what he found out was, he can make money on advertisement. He can make money. What is it called? Oh my goodness, I forget what it's called. I can't think of the damn word. Anyways, when these companies want to advertise on your channel, so he's getting a big advertisement, right? He saw what Gilbert Arenas was getting and all this stuff, and that's why Skip started his own thing, and Shannon Sharp started his own thing, and the advertisement. You can make so much money doing that, and then now everybody, as long as you lie and just make up stuff, your channel is going to, especially if somebody famous, right? Like LeBron James, like a Shaq, like Gilbert Arenas. He's not real famous, but he's an ex-basketball player. He can get basketball players on his channel. But for most of those guys, they have to lie and flip-flop just to sell their channels. That's what they have to do, lie and flip-flop. And then everybody else has to eat off of them. So whatever LeBron says, boom, bam, boom. You got to run back and say, LeBron said this. It's kind of like tattletelling, right? You go back and tell the parent, tell the teacher, somebody said this, it's like grown man tattletelling. That's what this whole thing really has become, grown man tattletelling on each other. And who can tattletell the fastest, the most, and things like that. Take like Dreamers Pro, right? He's the biggest tattletale of ESPN, Disney, Fox. And it's no wonder he always gets the story first, because he works for Disney, Fox, and ESPN. Why wouldn't he get the stories first? Right? He don't even seem like a guy that even plays sports before. I'm trying to tell. Just a weird dude, right? Just seemed like a weird dude that just popped out of nowhere and just started doing this. And what if these guys never even like sports? You know what I'm saying? What if they never even, they just like use a certain guy to act like they like sports to sell you their channel. Let's say I'm a Kobe Bryant fan, right? That's what let's just say he's saying that just to sell his channel to everybody else. But but I'm gonna just leave that. I'm just saying these guys are weird, man. And I don't get mad, man. Some people don't rock with me no more because I talk about Dreamers Pro. Look, I'm not on nobody's jock. I'm gonna call it like I see it. If I see you doing clutch work, I'm gonna say you're doing clutch work. Johnny Arnett. If you still rock with Johnny Arnett, that's on you. You say you're a Michael Jordan fan, and this guy goes and does clutch work, and you're cool with that. I mean, maybe that says something to you, something about you. I see a guy who's supposed to be against ESPN, supposed to be against Fox, supposed to be against these guys that have basically destroyed and ruined the legacy of some of these great all-time players, ruined basketball. These guys that work for these networks. But then again, you'll promote them heavily on your channel on just about every other video. So you can't be against this network and the stuff they do if you promote them. You literally promote everything they say every single day. All the employees that work for Fox, work for ESPN, and that's just how it is. This is the only way this guy can really get his channel up and moving, by promoting Disney and Fox. Nobody can prove me wrong. Nobody. I watch everybody else's work, and this is the only guy that promotes ESPN and Fox, what they say every single day on their episodes. Right? It's what he does. So his claim to fame with 200,000 subs is basically promoting ESPN. Now I'm just saying, is that just a coincidence? That he's got 200 subs just for promoting ESPN, Fox, and all them? Wow. I don't see 200,000 subs for that. I just don't. Well, I can see 200,000 subs for that, bot subs, if You work for them. And that's my thing. I'm going to stick to it. He can't prove me wrong. And anybody that's mad because I talk about him, well, good for you. Good for you. I think, maybe you should go out and do what he's doing. Because he's not, trust me, the guys that's out there doing the work, and I'm not trying to say I'm the best channel and I'm one of the best or anything like that. I'm one of the realest, I can tell you that. But I don't see, take, what is this channel? Self-research NBA facts. This guy kills. He kills Dreamers Pro. This guy should have, I know he just started, but he should have 300,000 subs. And Dreamers Pro should have about, at the most, 10,000. All he is a soap opera of what ESPN and Fox is saying. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. That's it. I guess we're doing this wrong, guys. And it's not even really nothing. If that's his gig, that's his gig, whatever. But for him to sit around and say he's against, these people at ESPN and Fox and all these people that dirty up the legacies of great players and lie and all this stuff, but you sit there and promote them every other video just for you to make any money, which shows me people say I work for them. What kind of nonsense? Okay, do something else then. Don't promote them every other video. Let me see what you got. You ain't got nothing. You ain't got nothing. He can't come over here. Come on this show and talk like me. Basically, he talks like, he's scripted. He kind of, he don't talk like, like he can't talk out of, let's just say, I'm trying to find the right words. Let's just say he tries to talk like he ain't scripted, but he really is, folks. He don't have the range like me. He don't have it. He don't have it. And again, I'm not trying to hate on his channel, but he's fake. He's fake. He tries to act like he ain't this and he don't do this and he don't vibe with this, and quit lying, dude. Quit lying. Quit lying. If you want, there's dudes who are agents. And they know they're agents, but they don't go outside of, trying to downplay it. Yes, Rusty Buckets is an agent. He ain't trying to downplay it. A lot of these guys are agents. Gilbert Arenas is an agent. He don't try to downplay it. FYI, whatever the hell that dude is, he's an agent. You don't try to downplay it. You're an agent. Stop trying to downplay it. So, again, the whole thing with this AI deepfake thing, LeBron James, he wasn't the first one to do it. LeBron James is actually late to the party, but once he saw all the money he could make, guys, these dudes are actually not even there. They're not even there. All they have to do is write a script to the avatar, and you're good to go. And they don't even have to do this. They have millions of dollars. Take some guys who have just like thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, or just, less than LeBron, have millions or whatever like that, but don't have LeBron's level. They can still do this. They still been doing this. The Paul Pierces, the Ray Allens, these type of guys. Okay? Did I say Ray? I was naming the big three. I don't know. Maybe Ray Allen does do it. I'm not for sure. But this is what these guys can do. And like I said, with the advertisement on their channel, they're good to go. They really ain't got nothing to worry about. So, it is what it is, folks. It is what it is. I'm not going to knock them for doing it, but, it's funny that nobody calls it out for what it is. Nobody calls it out. They're more outraged of what these guys say on their channels than calling it out for a deepfake. Because if you call it out for a deepfake, none of it's fun. It's no more, it's not cool no more. It's not fun. Because we want to keep it real, like everything is on the up and up so everybody can make money. But like I said, there's nothing wrong with, deepfake podcast. It is what it is. But that's the new thing. They've already told us this whole AI thing is going to get out of hand pretty soon. Yep, you're not going to know what's real. Yep, they don't have NBA have press conferences, AI deepfake. They don't have all kind of stuff. I think the decision was an AI deepfake. When I go back and I had these clips of LeBron back in the day, in different stages, whether he was at a presser, or he was at the announcement, or whatever it was. I'm like, how does this guy's nose keep changing? How does his nose keep changing? You know, I ain't talking about like in a 5-year, 10-year, his nose just keep changing. It's weird. It goes from like, you know, real narrow to wide 1 year, and then it goes back to narrow, then it goes back to wide. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? So listen, I'm gonna go off a cliff like always, and I'm gonna say the Pacers win this series. And the only reason that would give me this indication that that they would win this series is that Denver did take them to 7. Joker just didn't show up. I guess he just wanted to go back to Serbia. Scat won't tell you nothing about that. And the only reason why I would say this, that the Pacers can win, is because they're deep. They're deep. That's it. They're deep. They're deep. So tell me what you think.